I'm Euge Valovirta. And on this one, I'm gonna compare two different overdrive types. This is something that you, my dear subscribers, viewers, have asked quite a lot. So, transparent overdrives and then like tube screamer type mid-boost overdrives. And what I have on my board now is Boss SD-1, which is a like mid-boost type of overdrive, and JHS Bonsai, which I set it on the TS10, Tube Screamer 10 mode, which is my favorite of tube screamers. And then I have two transparent overdrives, Boss Blues Driver BD2 and Greer amps Lightspeed organic overdrive. Then I have three amplifiers, Boogie Mark V, which I've set completely clean. It's the clean channel, so you will hear how these different overdrives, how they react and how they sound to a clean channel. And then we're also gonna check how they sound to Mark IV, a really overdriven channel. Then I have a Plexi, which is, well, it's a Plexi, and how they work with the Plexi. It's not cranked, the loudness is around half, so it's like fairly overdriven still. And I have a Variac there, which the voltage, I've cut it so the amp gets 190 volts. Because in Europe the standard is 230, but in reality it's actually closer to 220. What I'm getting now is 221. So I have a Black Lion Audio's, this voltage thing. So it just makes it a little bit more brownier, the amp, like, you know, what Eddie Van Halen did. And then I have Marshall JCM 800 from 1985 with EL34s. So three amps, one 800, it's cranked, so it's fairly overdriven, but you know, it shines when you boost that with overdrive. And then the other gear, I'm using Tokai Les Paul with Seymour Duncan custom 59 pickups. Then it goes to the pedal board where I have, as you can see, my phone there, which is filming this. So all the pedals are connected to the looper. It's SD, TS, Bonsai, Blues Driver and Greer. And then I'm using the 85, it's just SD, but I programmed that it just switches the amp, the Boogie and the Plexi and the channel switch for the Boogie. And then I switch the amps via, well, this MIDI, but it's connected to this KH audio amp switcher, so I can switch the amps nicely. And then the signal goes to Sandrock's reactive load cab attenuator, where I have my signature IR Valovirtuos from Jens Bogren's Lead and Cleanback. And then I'm recording this to Cubase. Alright, now let's start with the Boogie's clean channel. Alright, so now Boogie's clean channel, it sounds like this. And then SD. So the way I've set it is my standard settings, quite a lot level, a little bit of drive, and the tone is around 1 o'clock, and that boosts mids and cuts lows. But since all these are before, like overdrive is supposed to use, so it doesn't cut anything from the amp. It cuts the lows from my guitar signal, so the amp gets a very mid-focused, mid-boosted sound, which is overdriven by the clipping circuit, by the drive. So the amp gets mid-gainy signal, and it makes the amp behave a certain way. So with SD it sounds like this. Okay, so at here, really hunky. Then TS10. it boosts a little bit more mids, but it's softer, like tube screamers in general. Let me compare them just by playing one chord. So even though I have the tone quite cranked, it's still softer. So that's the difference between, in general, between different tube screamers and Boss SD-1. SD-1 is really aggressive, and it's one of my favorite overdrives. And then these two, Blues Driver and Greer, they are so-called transparent overdrives, so they don't cut the lows really. They kind of boost all frequencies like simultaneously, you know, on the same level. And then with the tone knob or frequency knob, you can kind of determine how much there's highs. And on the Greer, I think the more you turn the frequency, it boosts highs, but it also boosts a little bit more mids. It's pretty similar than the Blues Driver. So check it out. First Blues Driver. Then the Greer. It's really smooth, but you can make it a bit aggressive like the Blues Driver. But Blues Driver is still a bit more aggressive. Okay, once more, all of these same money for nothing riff. So first the SD. Yeah, the Greer, the frequency knob, to me it boosts the highs, but it also boosts the mids a little bit. So I think when it's around noon, it's pretty like flat. And then the BD Blues Driver. There's not much mids happening, it just boosts the highs. And this has a lot of level. Okay, so those are the differences into clean channel. So if I wanna myself, this is my way, if I want to have a little bit more for completely clean amp, I tend to go towards transparent overdrives. The Blues Driver is this Greer amps. I borrowed this from MusiX, the great Swiss music store. I've been working a lot, just because that was one of the requests from you that would I try this out and what I think about it. So yeah, clean amp, transparent, or if I want to have specifically like a nasally tone. Compared to transparent, which boosts all frequencies. All right, then let's move to Plexi. And Plexi alone, it sounds like this. If I want to have more like singing a lead sound, I tend to go towards SD or G Screamer mid boost. Well, that works, I think, a bit better for single note stuff. And then G Screamer. A little bit more mids, a little bit softer than SD. A little bit. And then a blues driver. And then the Greer. It's a little bit, there's like the high end is a bit smoother than on blues driver, but again, the blues driver to me, it has a certain like mojo, like rawness, which I like. I mean, I have lots of Boss pedals. They are amazing pedals. Okay, so those were the differences into Plexi, like slightly overdriven, already quite mid-focused amp. And again, the way I would use probably rhythm work if I just want more Plexi, like I don't want to change the sound that much, I just want to have more, I would use a transparent. And lead work, again, on this one I think the two screamer shined the best. Let's just go through all of these. I play the Santana stuff a little and then the Dire Straits stuff. Neck pickup Santana. SD. Those were the differences. Okay, then let's move to Marshall JCM 800. Sounds like this without any overdrives. Yeah, or something like that. It was Rat. So as you hear, 800 is great amp, my all-time favorite amps. But it's, you kind of want to have a little more. And then the low end, I like to have a low end, but it gets a little bit, you know, flabby. And if I dial it back, then the amp gets kind of thin. But a good solution, which I've used since early 90s, is to boost that with overdrive, mid-focused overdrive, like SD-1. So let's do that. You hear SD, it works really well with Marshalls, especially with 800. It just makes it mean and nasty and adds a little bit sustain and overdrive. Okay, then let's try similar stuff with Tube Screamer. Like here, Tube Screamer doesn't cut the lows that much, and it adds a little bit more mid boost, a little bit of that. So it's like a little bit more velvety. Okay, then let's check out Blues Driver. I probably need to take the gain back a bit because Blues Driver actually has lots of gain. it gets a little bit mushy. And the reason, also one of the reasons why I don't dial back the bass on the amp, because the way I use 800, because it's a one-channel amp, so my clean side with 800 is basically I roll down the volume. And as you probably know, when you roll down the volume from guitar, the gain goes down, but also especially low end goes down. So I want the amp to have lots of low end. Check it out. So when I roll down the volume, there's still a low end, and the amp, the sound cleans nicely. So that's the reason. And then when I add, well, Boss SD-1 works the best in my opinion. Then it just... So 800 is actually really versatile amp, even though it has only one channel. So that's the thing for me. Lots of lows. It's almost cracked. I think it's around 9. So I usually put it full and then just dial back a bit, because these kind of old school amps, when you dial more bass, that's also more gain, more mids, adds mids, but also gain to the mids. So I don't want the lows to have too much gain. So that's the thing. Okay, then let's check out the 800 with the Greer. Yeah, the low end is a bit boomy. So boosting a fairly overdriven amp, I think mid boost type of overdrives like SD-1 or 2 screamer types work the best. These just, or unless you dial the lows back, but then if you're using 800 and you want to have clean sound, so how you do it, you step off the overdrive, roll down the volume, but if the lows are on the amp very low, then the sound will be really thin. Okay, that's that. Then let's switch to Boogie and channel 3, which is high gain channel, and I have the Mark IV mode. I have the quite a lot of gain. So one thing which is also popular way of using, if you are not intended to use this sound or tone as a clean tone, you have a separate clean channel, but you just want a little bit tighter. So like, let me show you. I put a gain where I will like have it. This is really good, the Boogie. It stays tight because you can cut the bass on the tone stack and then add it afterwards. Let's dial a sound that I want to kind of have 2 sounds. So high gain sound, which is really tight, and then even a bit more tighter and more high gain in the sound. So the way I will do it. like this. But if I just want to have more sustain, cool way is to turn the drive down. It's turned on everyone, and then crank the level. I don't really do that ever. On the 5150 it's a high gain amp, so I do my usual thing, because I like the clipping diode in front, because then the amp gets an already little bit clip sound. I just like how it feels. But this is also one way. So now Mark IV, and then let me kick in the SD and now I can actually add more low. So now it's really gainy, but it stays tight. Okay, let's check out what happens with Tube Screamer. Again, a little bit more mids. So let me compare GS and SD. Yeah, SD is just so mean. I love it in front of already overdriven amp. Okay, then blues driver. Yeah, immediately you hear the low end becomes flubby and gainy. It's distorted because it boosts all the frequencies. So the amp gets sound that it's louder on all frequencies, so it doesn't really work really well. Okay, then the Greer. This works actually really well because I dialed more frequencies because it apparently also boosts the mids and cuts a little bit lows at the same time. And since this is so organic, like it says, it works. Yeah, that works actually. Okay, then let me go through all of these. I'm just gonna play some chankaranka. Like you heard, the blues driver didn't really work in this situation. I think SD worked the best, then the GS10, and then the Greer worked surprisingly well. It's like the name says, it's really organic overdrive, and it works actually really well on all situations. But boosting a 800 style or really high gain amp, I still think SD-1 is the best. Then GS, then Greer. Blues driver didn't really work at all. Plexi style amp, single note stuff, SD or GS. Rhythm work, riffing, boost driver and Lightspeed work the best. Boost driver also worked if you want a really mean, like a solo sound. It works, but I still kind of prefer. Actually, I think the GS10 worked the best. And into completely clean amp, well, these mid boosty, they were a little bit like, if you know you want, or if I want that kind of sound, then I will use those. But if I just want to enhance or boost the already clean sound without changing the tone much, then I would use transparent overdrive. Hey, that was that. That was it. Hopefully you found this interesting and informative. If you liked the video, please, put a thumbs up and subscribe and so on. Thanks for watching. All the best. See you next time. Bye.